And I'll open, what's today's date?
11th.
December 11th, 2024, last meeting of the year, Buckingham Township business meeting. I'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you.
Good.
Okay, do you want to start with, I get this up and running?
So public comment?
Yep.
Oh, the proclamation first.
Well, okay,
At
so,
least that's what,
yeah, we have a proclamation here for a new Eagle Scout, which is my son, and doesn't like a lot of spotlight and so forth, but we did the proclamation. Maggie, will you
I'm going
read
to
it for
read
us?
it. My husband was an Eagle Scout, so I'm really proud of Paul. Whereas the limits of Buckingham Township are not in its land, but in how those who reside here live their lives. And whereas our township's lifeline is as long and as strong as the lives of its residents. And whereas Paul Peter Calderero, a Buckingham resident and member of Boy Scout Troop 6, Washington Crossing Council, has become a part of the history of his community by his accomplishments. And where Peter Paul Calderero has brought pride to Boy Scout Troop 6, Washington Crossing Council, Washington Crossing, Pennsylvania, and to his community by achieving the rank of Eagle Scout of the Boy Scouts of America. Now, therefore, the supervisors of the Township of Buckingham, County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, hereby enthusiastically acknowledge the contributions of this young man. Wherefore, by the proclamation adopted on this day, it is directed that the Township's documents shall permanently record the following. Peter Paul Calderero of Buckingham Township did bring honor to himself and to the Township of Buckingham, in which he resides, by achieving the rank of Eagle Scout of the Boy Scouts of America. And on this day, we recognize and salute his achievements. Adopted this 11th day of December, 2024, by the Buckingham Township Board of Supervisors. Congratulations, Paul Calderero. Absolutely.
So, yeah, I remember,
My Okay.
taking him to his first meeting, and my wife said, just take him to the meeting, don't do anything, don't say anything. And I came back, and she said, what happened? I said, I'm the troop leader. And she goes, didn't I tell you just go? And I said, they said who was going to be the leader, and everybody looked at me, so
I didn't know that story.
yeah, that was many years ago. So I'm proud of Paul. He's has done a lot of, anybody knows who's in Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts or Girl Scouts know, they do a lot of volunteer work. And I think his project was here at the township, actually.
I was going to ask you to share what his project was.
Yeah, his township was, well, he built some benches out in the pavilion, out in the trail, and I think he did some painting, Lori, didn't he? I think he painted also, and so forth, with a few other things. So I'm glad that his project had to do with Buckingham, which was his idea. He wanted to do since he was born here, and it was a great journey for him and us. So and I appreciate.
And it's just beginning.
Yeah, it's just beginning. That's right. So congratulations, Paul, and thank you for sitting here and indulging us with that. Okay, go ahead.
Public comment is next. Any public comment? None? Okay. Any comment, Paul, from you?
No, just hope everybody has fantastic holiday and Christmas coming up, and I hope everybody's safe and has a great time with their family.
Well, ditto to that, but I also wanted to point out that there are some calendars over there on the table for the celebrating the 325th anniversary of Buckingham Township, which we're going to celebrate all next year. Please feel free to take a calendar. It's got some great photos of places in Buckingham, and it can keep you on schedule. There's magnets over there that with the QR code thing that'll tell you about what's going on for the celebration, and
Sorry about that.
yeah, right over on the table. So,
Can I borrow your iPad?
and I think that's it. Let's get on with this. Shall I keep going?
Give me one.
Okay, I'm going to read the board's announcements, okay? Our offices are going to be closed, the administrative offices, on December 24th, Christmas Eve, at noon, and all day on the 25th, Christmas Day. They'll also be closed on December 31st, Christmas Eve, at 3 o'clock, so it'll be open till 3, and all day on New Year's Day, January 1st. The annual Board of Supervisors reorganization and regular business meeting and work session will be held on Monday, January 6th, beginning, well, it says time to be determined, but did I see somewhere at 6 o'clock?
You guys were talking about 5
That's what I had on my
for the
calendar.
reorganization.
Then. Okay, yeah, but, so we'll have that on the website, the time,
Yeah.
we'll clarify that. And that's a state mandated date. We have to, all townships reorganize the first Monday of the new year, so it jumps around. You always have to watch and make sure we're here.
Okay, I got it up. Thank you, Maggie.
Okay, the annual Board of Auditors reorganization meeting, also elected officials, an auditor, will be held on Tuesday, January 7th, at 2025 at 6 o'clock. Maybe that's what I read, 6 o'clock, and I was just
probably.
thinking, okay.
I got it up now.
Okay,
Thank you so
number
much.
3.
I got it.
You got it.
Okay. Number 3, make a motion we approve payment request number 4 to Durston Company LLC for the work completed on the pump station generators and the upgrades Phase 3 General Contract BT 23-01 in the amount of $126,000. And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. And again, for those of you that come all the time know this is not tax money. It's water and sewer company, or customers.
Specifically wastewater.
Specifically wastewater in this case. So it's not tax money. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 3B, make a motion we approve payroll for the weeks ending November 21st, 2024 and December 5th, 2024, and the bill list for the meeting of December 11th of 24 in the amount of $987,681.04. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 4, make a motion we approve draft supervisor minutes for November 13th of 24 work session and November 13th of 24 for the regular business meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Number 5, make a motion we accept various departmental minutes and advisory board minutes, which include architectural, agricultural, thank you, and open space preservation committee for February. I'm guessing.
No,
wait.
you're right. It is not a typo.
Oh, okay. For February 2018, we're back in time.
Yes.
Okay.
In
Okay.
the meantime, we've preserved 25 properties?
Yeah. You gave me a second, right?
Yeah, I
Okay.
gave you a second.
All-
Well, there's a bunch of
Oh,
you.
and
Wanna
the
do 'em
building and zoning monthly stats for November of 2024. Now we're back to the future. All in favor?
all? Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we have a public hearing. Oh, at 8
Well, you
p.m.
have 10
Yeah, we gotta wait.
minutes, so
But
you
you can move on to, say, for instance,
8?
16 or 8.
Correct. Hold on one second. I can move on to number 8. Okay, so we gotta move on because they gotta start on time, those.
You
So,
can't do 8. That's a resolution for the liquor.
well, 9.
okay, yeah,
We
you're
can
right.
start at 9.
Can start at 9. Okay, make a motion, we approve resolution number 2627, a resolution of the Township of Buckingham, County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, fixing the earned income tax rate, local services rate, tax rate, and the real estate transfer tax rate for the fiscal year 2025. Do I have a second?
Second,
Discussion.
you want to just
Nothing.
go through it?
Yeah.
Nothing has changed on that.
Nothing's changed.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 10, make a motion, we approve resolution number 2628, a resolution of the Township of Buckingham, County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, fixing the real estate tax rate for the fiscal year of 2025. Do I have a second?
You have a second.
I think
Did you
that's
say
the one.
26, 28?
Yes.
Yep. I think that's the one we want to
That's
talk
earned
about, right?
income tax.
No, 26, 28
Is the real
is
estate tax.
real estate.
Yep, that has to do with.
Yes.
Okay, so let's
And the
discuss that.
The only change in there is
The fire.
the millage for our volunteer fire companies.
Correct. So in the property tax, most of you know, we collect three things. We collect EMS, we collect fire, and we collect our open space bond referendum that we all voted for. Our general fund is in our 1%, it's actually 0.5%, school district gets the other half of our earned income tax rate. So the property tax, we are adjusting it for the fire department. They're obviously a volunteer force. We need to make sure they have what they need to keep us safe and, quite frankly, keep them safe. So we have to adjust it a little bit, and it's been a while. And as you know, cost of living has gone up. So we've had discussions with them. We found out their needs, okay, and it's something everybody's in agreement with, especially them. So, you know, especially them. So I just wanted to make that clear. Okay, Maggie, did you say anything?
Yeah, it's the cost of equipment.
Yeah.
The fire equipment that they need, that's really what is their costs.
Correct. Yep. And
They
it's,
don't get paid, they're volunteers.
yep, and this actually is also a firewall to make,
No pun intended.
oh my God, I can't believe I said that, to a paid force, which would dramatically increase our taxes. So we really thank them, not just for keeping us safe, but, you know, financially helping us all out too, because it would be a dramatic cost. So any other discussion?
Well, I'll just add to
Yeah.
that. I'm a part of a Bocado, a countywide organization, and we did a program on this. And there are several townships in our county that have career firemen just at various types of the week. And some of the townships actually have them scheduled full time. So it's one of the models that's out there, and we're doing this to most likely ease into that.
When you say career, do you mean they're on payroll? Yeah.
That's the term they use, career. But it is paid. Yeah. So, sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you for adding that. I mean, Maggie sees it all because she's the president of Bucks County Association of Township Officials. So
Yeah.
we're lucky that Maggie brings to the table a lot that happens around the county, and it benefits us. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 11, make a motion we approve resolution number 2629, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors, Buckingham Township, Bucks County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, authorizing the establishment of checking, savings, and investment accounts and designating various institutions to serve as depositories for the funds of the township in 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, anything to add to that, Dana? Nope.
Nope.
Okay, pretty self-explanatory. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 12, make a motion, we approve resolution number 2630, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors, Township of Buckingham, Bucks County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Township Secretary's Certification of 2025, Budget Preparation and Publication. Do I have a second?
Second.
This would be,
This is just that we prepared it, we presented it last month, and we published it both on our website and made it available to the public.
correct, our budget. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 13, I make a motion we approve resolution number 2631, a resolution of the Township of Buckingham in the County of Bucks, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, appropriating specific sums estimated to be required for a specific purpose of the municipal government hereinafter set forth during the year 2025 and adopting the annual budget reflecting these amounts. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, and this is just a
This
We
is
went
actually
through.
adopting your budget.
Budget.
correct, adopting the budget, which, by the way, no increase in general funds, I might add, for the township, which is
Yeah, no general
is
fund
no,
taxes.
no general fund taxes or tax increase. Any other discussion? Yep, just other than, and I'm sure you share the sentiment, thanking our staff for putting together the budget and the various departments and heads of departments for help preparing it. And, keeping our residents, along with my colleagues, keeping our residents, because, what we do is not just about keeping you physically safe, but financially as well. So thank you to Jill, our finance director, and Dana, and all the rest of the staff for helping to do that and being fiscally responsible. That's why we're AAA rated. Anything else, Maggie?
Still AAA.
Still AAA. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Number 14. Give me 1 second because, Dana, do you see what happened there? I don't know why that happened there.
I don't know. That's
Okay.
when that first.
Give me 1 second.
Paul,
Matt?
it is about 8 o'clock. Do we want to
Okay.
go?
Oh,
Can
no,
we do-
that's a good idea.
Can we do one more?
Last one,
Matt,
and
you
then
do
we'll
this last.
Jill has one more, and then she gets to go home for the day.
Do the last one for me, Matt.
I move that we approve resolution number 2632, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Buckingham Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, for the purpose of amending the 2024 budget. And it just gets the,
We
But-
do this annually.
Yes.
It's a part of every municipality's procedures. And
Yep.
it's based on what's occurred during the year, because obviously things occur differently than what you've budgeted for every year.
so. Second.
Okay, second, sorry.
Any questions about this?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Now, big stuff. Back to
Exactly 8 right now.
6, right?
It is 8 right now, perfect timing.
Back to
And
number 6?
there you go.
Oh, thank you.
It's starting at 8.
Okay.
Anyway. So
Okay.
I guess just open the public hearing.
Okay, 8 o'clock, and we are on number, on 6. Okay. I'm going to open up the public hearing to consider the consideration of approving the application of David Paul Flack, DBA Bountiful Acres, for conditional use approval pursuant to Buckingham Township zoning ordinances, sections 601B, dot 3500 and, bear with me, and 405 A10 to use properties owned by David Paul Flack located at 5074, 5056, and 5046 York Road, and 5043 Anderson Road, Buckingham Township, Pennsylvania, being Bucks County Tax Map Parcel 06-014-019, 06-014-020, and 06-014-021. Sorry, there's another one. And 06-014-099 for development of a use A10 accessory farm business consisting of revenue generating venture. Hold on, I lost my place. Sympathetic to the principle of architectural.
No, agricultural.
I did that before. Agricultural or nursery use that is conducted on the property. This could consist of educational tours, seasonal festivals related to products grown on the farm.
Crafts,
Yep, I lost my place. Hold on.
craft fairs.
Craft fairs, hay rides, and horse shows. So I'll open the meeting, or public hearing. And thank you for your patience. I normally have dark mode on my iPad. It's a little hard for me to read without dark mode, so thank you for your patience. Craig?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Is Mr. Flack and any of his representatives here? Okay, do you have counsel?
No, I don't have counsel with me.
Okay. Are you gonna testify?
Sure.
Okay, then Donna, could you swear him by chance?
Raise your hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Is anyone else going to testify for you? Okay.
And can you come up to the front so the board can hear you?
Does he want to sit at that table? That mic's on,
Yeah,
right?
there's a mic there, so you can
Yeah.
sit at that table.
And then pull the mic towards you, because that's how they do.
Okay, so first, Mr. Chairman, I would like to mark certain board exhibits.
Okay.
The first exhibit, B1, would be the application, which would be incorporated into the record of Board Exhibit 1.
Okay.
The public notice of tonight's hearing shall be incorporated into the record as Board Exhibit 2. The correspondence to the applicant advising of the hearing shall be Board Exhibit 3. The proofs of publication of the notice of this hearing in the Intelligencer, a newspaper of general circulation in Buckingham, on November 27th, 2024, and on December 4th, 2024, shall be Board Exhibit 4. Proof of the timely posting of the public notice on the property shall be Board Exhibit 5, and proof of the mailing of the notice of the hearing to surrounding property owners shall be Board Exhibit 6. Now, next, we need to determine whether anyone else in the audience wants to be a party to these proceedings. Let me explain what that means. If you are a party, you actually are an active participant in the proceedings. You can have witnesses testify, you can cross-examine witnesses, you can present documents, you can fully participate. And if you're a party, you have certain appeal rights. In other words, if you're unhappy with this board's decision on the issue, you could appeal that decision to the Court of Common Pleas in Bucks County. Now, if you're not a party, that doesn't mean the board's not going to listen to you or hear from you. At the conclusion of whatever testimony we have here tonight, the board will open the floor and will let anybody speak to this application that wants to speak to this application, and the board will take whatever you have to say into consideration. Having heard that, is there anyone that wants to fully participate as a party and present witnesses and cross-examine, et cetera, et cetera?
Can I ask you something, please?
Sure.
I live a few doors down from Bountiful Acres, and I have an opinion on this. I've lived there 15 years. I own a little under an acre of my property, and I have a house there. And I would like to say my opinion of this,
And
which I do not agree with.
okay, at the conclusion, before anyone makes a decision, the board will absolutely listen to you and let you express your opinion and tell us why you
I'm a
think.
professional writer. I have all notes here. I can
Okay. Well,
Does she want to make a party?
we'll give you the opportunity to do that,
Okay, thank you.
okay?
Okay.
Thanks. Anyone else? Seeing none, okay. Now, let me explain the process here tonight a little bit so everyone kind of understands. This is a conditional use application. And a conditional use is a form of a permitted use under the township zoning ordinance. So the fact that it is a conditional use evidences that the township recognizes this is a use that, subject to certain conditions, would be permissible in this particular zoning district. So the application should be denied only when it is shown that there is an adverse impact on the public interest that exceeds that which might be expected in normal circumstances. So what the applicant has to prove to us tonight is that all the specific requirements of the zoning ordinance, and we'll go through those, the applicant has to comply with those. It has to be able to comply with those. If they are not, then the board basically has to turn the application down. If they can show or agree to comply with all those conditions, then the board can approve the application. Now, those are specific conditions. There's also things called general conditions, like we don't want it to hurt the health, safety, and welfare. If we want to try and show, or somebody wants to try and show that those general conditions aren't being met, it's their obligation to come forward with that evidence. It's not the applicant's application or obligation to prove that those general conditions are met. The applicant only has to prove that if someone comes forward with evidence showing that the general conditions aren't met. Okay, so with that, do you want to give us your presentation, Mr. Flack?
Sure. My name's David Flack. I live on 5733 Upper Mountain Road, Buckingham. And right next to Bountiful Acres, we own some fields where we grow corn and pumpkins and gourds and things like that. So we do what the conditional use is asking for is we do two different things. We do a fall festival where we have hay rides, educational rides for kids and adults for that matter, and offer them ways to get out into the fields and see how pumpkins are grown and corn, what it's all about. We have a winter festival as well, where we have Christmas trees out there, and so really it's mainly designed for kids as an educational as well as a fun afternoon. General.
Are you familiar with the zoning ordinance?
I am.
Okay, and
Somewhat, I mean.
have you gone over the requirements for use A10, which
Yes.
is what you're here applying for?
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask you some questions. And I know you went through this with the planning commission that made a recommendation of approval of this, but I want to get this on the record. Is the lot area we're talking about here 25 contiguous acres or more?
Yes.
Are the accessory farm uses you're proposing limited to educational tours, seasonal festivals related to products you grow on the farm, crafts fairs, hay rides, and horse shows?
Yes.
Is any activity or event or structure used for these events located within 150 feet of a right-of-way line or property line?
Any structures or,
Except for parking areas, yes.
no, I don't believe so.
You don't believe so, or no?
I do not believe so, so I will say no.
Okay.
Or something could certainly be moved if they need.
And would you agree that no activity or event would continue past 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday or past 11 p.m. on Friday and Saturday?
Yes.
Would you agree that no outdoor concerts or amplified sounds which would exceed the decibel limits for residential districts as set forth in section 3107 of the Buckingham Township zoning ordinance will take place?
Yes.
And you understand there can be no mechanical rides or amusements,
Yes,
and you agree to that?
yes,
Do you agree that as to any educational tours, the applicant will obtain an annual permit to operate those educational tours, specifying the number of days per year that educational tours will take place on the farm?
yes,
That as to any Halloween hay rides, do you agree that you will obtain a permit allowing such hay rides to operate from the first Saturday in October through October 31st?
yes,
And nothing beyond that?
yes,
That as to any seasonal festivals, craft fairs, or horse shows, you agree that you will obtain a permit allowing a total of no more than 9 such events per calendar year, and providing that a single festival shall not exceed 4 days in duration.
yes,
Now, off-street parking areas are to be provided to accommodate all attendees at any event. Now, the driveways from public roads and parking areas have to have a paved apron at the entrance, which is a minimum of 100 feet in length from the edge of the paving. Do you have that?
it is compacted crushed stone,
Okay. Are you willing to pave it?
if we need to, sure.
Well, it's a requirement of the ordinance, so you either have to do that or you have to go to the zoning hearing board and get a variance.
Okay, we can pay.
Okay. And then you have to have a gravel tire cleaning area 50 feet in length after the paved area. Are you willing to do that?
Yes,
And the parking areas have to be adequately screened from your neighbors. Are you willing to do that?
yes,
Okay. Now, I know they talked to you about this at the planning commission. Did you get a traffic control plan prepared?
I have been working on it, it has not been submitted.
Okay.
You need that submitted.
And do you understand you can't have any events until you have a traffic control plan and a parking control plan submitted to and approved by the Township Police Department?
Yes,
And that's agreeable.
yes,
And you're going to be able to show 2 road connections for emergencies?
yes.
Okay. And they would be on which 2 roads?
Anderson Road and York Road.
And Dan, are those arterial or collector roads?
Yes, they are. Well, York is an arterial, Anderson's a collector.
And you agree that there shall be no permanent outdoor lighting installed or illuminated for special events. You can have temporary lighting that may be used for the duration of the event only and may not shine or produce glare as defined and regulated by sections 3016 and 3022 of the zoning ordinance on adjacent properties. And that all event-related lighting is to be turned out 30 minutes after the event is concluded.
Yes,
That's all agreeable?
yes,
Okay, now do you understand that you can't have any signs advertising this event that are more than 32 square feet in area and no more than 2 signs comprising that 32 square feet?
yes,
And that's agreeable.
yes,
Now, are you able for all tours, seasonal festivals, craft fairs, hay rides, and horse shows to meet the requirements for water supply, sewage disposal, and restroom facilities at the Bucks County Health Department and any other agency with jurisdiction?
yes,
And you realize when you apply for any of these permits that you're required to apply for, you're going to have to show that as
yes.
part of the application. Okay. Now, finally, I understand in the event that you had this last fall, looking on your advertisement for the event on the internet, that you had a food truck or food trucks there.
Yes,
You understand that you're not allowed to do that.
I do now.
Okay. So you understand that as the owner of a property on which a farm business use is proposed, you must operate any farm business activity directly and may not subcontract it to any person or entity to operate a business for you. You
Yes,
understand that?
Yep.
Is that agreeable?
yes,
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I believe that is the specific requirements of the ordinance. And let me just ask you this, Mr. Clark. you're willing, or are you willing, if the board were to decide to approve this conditional use application, to have all these items and specific conditions that we just discussed made as conditions of any such approval?
Yes.
So, is there anything else you want to offer the board?
I don't think so.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I think we've established that the specific requirements the applicant has agreed he's going to meet. I think that at this point, we can open the hearing up to anyone who wants to comment on the application.
Oh, and be a party.
No, just who
No.
wants to comment on the application.
Got it.
Yeah, I'd like to comment. Should I stand or?
Yeah,
Sure, there's a
behind
microphone
you.
back there, and
And just give your name and address
Okay.
for the record, please.
Pull that microphone down so it's, or take it out, pull it, so it's like close to your mouth, because
or
otherwise
you
you
can walk around like a television star.
Okay. I live a few,
Your
3
name,
doors
please.
down.
name and
Your name.
address.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Karen Tortorella. I'm at 5026 York Road. Oh, can you hear me?
Did you spell your last name?
Tortorella. And I'm at 5026 York Road.
I'm sorry, what was that address?
5026 York Road. I'm
Thank
a few
you.
doors down from the nursery where I live. I've been there 15 years.
Put it in your mouth.
I'm sorry. Can you
Is
hear
that
me?
on?
Yeah.
I've been there 15 years. I moved from Red Bank, New Jersey, and gave up a house I inherited there I love Bucks County. I want to live in Bucks County. I thought it was a very quiet, bucolic, beautiful area, very quaint. And I'm a journal, I'm a writer, and I absolutely loved it. And so I moved from New Jersey. I like peace and quiet, and I envision with this hundreds of people. The traffic's already very, very congested. I have trash I pick up all the time in my yard from not only Bountiful Acres, but I have a thrift shop, good thrift shop. It used to be a furniture store there. It was called Hunt Furniture. And everyone there is very nice at Good Thrift Shop, but I have people walking their dogs in my yard. I'm next door. I have a lady with a young child. He was swinging on a branch on one of my trees, and I love kids. I publish a kids paper. I asked if she not do that because I was afraid the child would get hurt. I've had people cross through my yard when there's plenty of space in front. So I worry about noise. When they had the Halloween activities, they had loudspeakers. I could hear it in my dining room. I could hear it in my backyard. I don't want this in my backyard. I think it's going to disrupt the beauty of the area. It's a bucolic, quaint area. It's always been known for that, and it's already quite congested. It sometimes takes me 20 minutes to get out of my house. I think it's going to bring a lot of traffic in. I worry about garbage blowing in my yard, noise, people. I'm a few hundred feet. It's almost in my backyard. It's a few hundred feet from my backyard. It's very close. So there's no escaping it. And so these are some of the reasons I protested. I mean, music festivals are loud. They're loud. I'll be at the festivals. I mean, I'm very close by. And so these are some of the reasons that I protested. And also, we have 2 surgeries I have to have. I really would like peace and quiet in my life. I'm a professional. I used to write for the New York Times. I've written for a lot of major publications in this country. I do my research. And I have to say something, you know. I have nothing against him personally or the nursery. I think it's a nice nursery, but to bring that kind of, you know, that amount of people in and noise and horse shows and I think it would really taint the beauty of the area and the bucolic quietness of it. It's already, as you know, this area is getting very built up, and it's much more built up. I've been here 15 years. I see a lot of big changes. So that's why some of the reasons I'm against it. I don't want to hear in my dining room you know, a Halloween tour going by a few hundred feet from my backyard. I have a little less than an acre of land. And I just don't want to hear everything all the time. It's noisy and it's loud. And I think it'd be more loud and more noisy. And how are you gonna control that? We have public people, he doesn't know everybody that's gonna come in. So, there's some of the reasons that I will protest it.
What's our address? Son of a crap.
I think it's kind of a travesty to peace and beauty and,
Can you keep your voice up a little bit?
oh, I'm sorry. I think it will taint the beauty of the area, the quietness, the ruralness of it.
Are you getting all that, Tom?
And again, I have 2 surgeries I have scheduled, one's kind of serious, and I need peace and quiet, and I don't want to have, feels like loudspeakers in my dining and living room. It's too close to my house, my property. And I do pay taxes, and I've been here 15 years. That's what I've got to say. If you want
Thank you.
to ask me any question.
Board have any questions?
No.
You heard amplified sound?
Yes, I do.
Well, but,
They were doing they had a little trolley car. I'm sorry.
no, it's okay. I was just clarifying because you've agreed to the however many things, and one was, not to have amplified sound, which exceeds a decibel. Forgot it, I didn't read the rest of it.
There was also some entertainment.
Okay. Yeah, but, I mean,
That was very loud speakers coming into my yard, not just the trolley going by. I could hear the whole thing from my backyard.
I forgot about the sound. Maybe.
I would think if you have a lot of people back there in that larger area, that you would have to have a large amplified sound to get through. It's quite a few acres.
Well,
It's very close to my backyard.
He's not allowed to have sound amplified beyond a certain level and only at certain times.
How are you gonna have festivals and horse shows and you know, there's some people that don't hear that well. When you have public events.
Yeah, I'm one of them, but go ahead.
No, when you have public events, normally, you know, you have to have that kind of acreage, loudspeakers or some kind of sound system. How could you hear people speaking or? you
Well,
know,
there's a certain standard of a level of sound that can be, whether people can hear or not hear, that's the max. I mean, I think that's
Yeah,
what,
but I
you
can
know.
hear it in my yard when they hit
Well-
things, and, you know, I'm very close by. Is there any way they could not have it in the track behind my property?
Ask him. Mr. Black?
I don't want it behind my property.
The only amplified sound that we had was for 1 hour, we had a performer come in, her name is Yo-Yo, and she does little kids programs. She tries to entertain the kids, get the kids into what she's doing. She jumps around and sings songs, and that is the only time we have amplified sound.
Yeah, I thought it was longer than an hour, you know.
Mr. Black, how long has your nursery been there and you've been doing this?
Have we been doing the festival?
No,
Or-
your nursery.
We've been there?
Yeah.
Well, Earl Jamison started it in '55, and we purchased it in '83.
So you've been doing this a long time?
Yeah, long time.
But not festival.
No, specifically talking about
Yeah. I'm
what
just
it is,
clarifying.
what it is to, yeah. And obviously, and thank you for your, comments, by the way. I didn't want to ignore what you were saying.
Yeah, it's okay.
I heard what
Yeah.
you were saying.
And-
I'm just trying to go back and forth and,
Yeah,
and
fine.
And your
pontificate. Go ahead.
and your comments are now all entered into the record, so thank you.
Correct. Because I heard what you said, you know, you've been here 15 years, which is a decent amount of time. So I'm getting from, you know, Battle because how long they've been here and how long they've been doing it also. So, because, you know, it's a very well-known nursery, obviously, you know, great members of the community and so forth. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's all the legal requirements that you're meant to do, you are abiding by, is that correct?
Correct.
From my understanding about your conversation with Craig and where you just testified under oath.
Yes.
Okay. And anything that would be outside of that, you would be obviously coming to the township. You obviously couldn't do it. You'd have to do this all over again. But you would acknowledge and come to us and say, hey, I have to deviate for the plan because of this reason. I'd like to get permission, correct?
Well, you couldn't grant that permission.
No, I said we'd have to do it all over again, is my
No,
point, right?
he would have to go to the zoning hearing board.
Right.
To
Okay.
get permission for those kinds of things. The stuff that we went through are the requirements of the zoning ordinance. And if he's not going to comply with one of those, he either has to get
Right.
variance from the zoning hearing board, or he can't have the conditional use approval. So it's,
Okay, I thought it would restart the process. But you understand you would have to go to the zoning hearing board and pay their fee and go through that, and that's obviously not guaranteed. So I think, like, I hear what you're saying, you know, and pondering all this, you know, unless what Craig said, and Craig, I'm not gonna use, what's the legal terminology about if someone complies with everything, but it's not deemed good for the community, what was your legal?
well, it's a standard health, safety, and welfare argument, but in a conditional use, so I was saying earlier, conditional use is a permitted use.
Right,
And as long as they can comply with all the specific conditions in the zoning ordinance, then it's a permitted use. Now, if they didn't comply with some of those conditions,
Right.
then it's not permitted, and they'd have to get a variance from those conditions. And that's not something that this board has the authority to grant.
okay. Yeah, go ahead, Maggie, sorry.
And they are complying with all
Can I
the.
ask you a question? Can I ask a question?
Yeah, let me just let Maggie
No,
finish
I
what
was
she was
just gonna
saying.
say,
okay?
it appears that you're complying with all the elements of the conditional use zoning.
Okay, and my point, and hold that thought for 1 second, ma'am. My point of starting over was that I thought after this, and you told him, if he said something he wanted to do, and he knew he had to go to the zoning hearing board, I thought when the process closed and we're done this, we would have to know that ahead of time, but I stand corrected. What were you saying, ma'am?
This is an enlargement of what he's said he's done in the past. This is more people, you know, more traffic, more noise. I still think you'd have to have some kind of sound system or loudspeakers, and I think it's an enlargement of what he's done in the past. Or why would he be asking for it if it wasn't something different?
Well, ma'am, I would only say this, I'm thinking as you're talking, and I'm just gonna give us a hypothetical, just so me and you, it's in layman's terms and we can understand. If he's allowed to have 200 people at a festival, and in the past he's only had 100 people, let's say, and now he wants to have 150 people, it's still within, even though he's growing it, it's still within his right to do it. And
But-
Craig,
Mr. Chairman, let me just explain how we got here,
Got it.
okay? The township staff saw the sign advertising the fall event, and they sent a notice to Mr. Flack indicating that he could not have that event absent conditional use approval.
Okay,
So he came in and he made this application for conditional use approval because the township sent him notice that he was in violation of the zoning ordinance. And that's how we got here tonight.
And my understanding, please correct me if I'm wrong, is that you want to continue to have the type of event that you had, that you're not coming in to make it a lot larger or bigger or louder or anything.
Well, actually, it would even be less because some of the restrictions, like no food trucks.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it's not, well, I'm saying
Yeah.
just for your neighbors'
Is there a
sake
limit
too.
on the number of people? What if 500 people want to come in? No, really, I'm
There's a-
not trying to be
there's-
rude.
No, no.
Is there a
the-
limit?
Yes, the
Yes.
limit basically is a practical limit. If he can't park cars for that many people, he's not allowed to have that many people.
What if he makes a very large lot or enlarges it and there's 500 people?
Well, because there's setbacks and limits on the size of the lot can be, he only has so much land and he's gonna have the event in other parts of the land. So there are physical limitations.
What if
Yes.
people walk to it? Because the firehouse has something and people walk from that whole area to it if they don't drive there. And then that's more people.
There's no specific limit on the number of people. There are practical limits based on parking.
I just don't want hordes of people, noise, and people throwing garbage. I've garbage blowing my yard all the time, from Bountiful Acres and the thrift shop. I just pick it up, but that number of people, they can throw gum wrappers, candy wrappers, it can blow all over the place. What guarantee is there that won't happen?
I guess there,
The
There's no-
limits that the township is allowed to enforce are the limits that are in its zoning ordinance. And those are the things that I went through with the applicant to say, you're gonna agree you can't do this, you can't do this, you have to do this. And the applicant agreed to those.
I just don't want it in my backyard. The number of people, all the reasons I said, I don't think it's fair for my peace and quiet in my life. Yeah, I'm a few hundred feet from that field. It's very close to where I live. So I'm just a person that's protesting that.
well, I will say,
I've lived here 15 years in that area.
if it did go through, I would say, I think Mr. Flack wants to be a good neighbor, and here's what you're saying. I don't think, because he said it under oath, he's gonna do anything he's not allowed to do. And I would think he would make a good effort that if something's going on that shouldn't be, he would correct it and be a good neighbor. Am I correct, Mr. Flack?
Yes, you're correct.
Well, the last thing he had, Halloween, was so loud I could hear it in my dining room and my backyard when I was walking my dog. And then that train that was coming through, it was so close to my backyard.
Well, that was a mechanical device, was it
It
not?
was.
Okay,
It
you
was.
can't have
He
those.
can't have those
But
now.
I heard noise, I like peace and quiet, I think it's so close to my backyard. If it was further away, we're talking a few hundred feet from my back fence.
Well, he has to be 150 feet from any property line. He agreed to that
It's pretty
tonight.
close, though, when you have multitudes of people and noise and music and.
It is.
She lives in a commercial area.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wants to speak to the application? Yes, ma'am. Can you give us your name and address and?
Yes.
Yes.
My name is Stephanie Weiser, 3806 Amberton Way.
Spell your last name, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, Weisser.
I'm sorry, what was your address again?
3806 Amberton Way, and the mailing address is Doylestown, Pennsylvania, 18902.
02.
I live in Buckingham. Mine has, I have no problem with the application at all. My issue is, I just need to understand why, when there is a gravel driveway, I overheard the part where you said that the gravel has to now become macadam.
Yes.
That really bothers me, because we all know that with stormwater runoff and things of that nature, when we change something like a gravel surface to a macadam surface, we have less absorption. And so, I don't know why that is always, why that is required here. And I'm bringing it to your attention because I think that we need to consider those things when we ask people to, hard top areas where people are parking and driving and so forth, when it really, it's questionable whether it's really necessary, especially given a day like today, because it looks like we're getting more heavy rains at times and then more drought. We need to look ahead as to what we can do to preserve the properties that we have without blacktopping. And it's hotter, makes it more, the sun baking it in the middle of the summer. So anyway, I would like you to consider that.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Engineer, but I believe under our zoning ordinance, the gravel is also considered an impervious surface.
Yes, it is.
And in fact, with cars driving on it, it gets compacted, and in fact, it does become an impervious
It
surface.
is, it certainly does. So your runoff coming off of a compacted gravel,
As much as with macadam?
Yeah.
As hot as macadam?
the temperatures is not something that we're talking with stormwater, but as I said, that typically we consider gravel, compacted gravel as an impervious surface, so.
And Well, I'm sure that you have studies to show that is the case, and this isn't something that we decided 20 years ago and realized it isn't necessarily the truth anymore. Is no.
I think it's widely understood through all of the State Department of Environmental Protection standards that gravel has basically the same runoff characteristics as a paved, crushed gravel that has been compacted has the same runoff characteristics as a paved surface.
Okay.
And I think that's a conservative, obviously, it's more conservative to assume that it is. So when you do your runoff calculations, when you're providing a crushed gravel parking area, that you're creating just as much runoff as you do when there's pavement, so.
And how about heat?
And again, we're talking stormwater, we're not talking, I don't know if there is
So I
a,
was mentioning two things. One was the runoff and the other is just, blacktop. It just does generate much more heat.
it's,
But it's not blacktop.
So if it's as compacted, so then my question would be, I guess, if the gravel compacts as much as the hardtop, why do you have to make someone change from gravel to hardtop if it acts the same way and the gravel generates less heat in the summertime?
I suspect the intent of the drafters of the ordinance, and I don't know that anyone sitting here drafted this provision of the ordinance, but I suspect the intent was to, because people are parking in fields here. The parking is not gravel, it's not covered with any kind of surface. So I think the intent is that as people drive through and they pick up mud or whatever on their tires, that the gravel, the 50 feet of gravel before the hardtop cleans those tires off. And then when they get onto the remaining 100 feet, that further cleans them so that when they get onto the township roads, they're not dragging mud, grass, and that kind of stuff on. Is that a fair?
that's exactly why it's done that way, yes.
So we consider the mud and the grass that goes onto the blacktop to be the issue. Is that correct?
I think it can cause a hazard on township roads if you have mud and grass and stuff like that on the roads, yes.
And people
Versus
getting
the-
stuck.
The hazard that's caused by the increased heat by having more macadam laid down. I mean,
Well, I think the hazard that they're worried about, and again, I'm getting into engineering and I'm a lawyer, so I would have to ask Dan for this, but I suspect the hazard that they're worried about is cars getting in accidents and sliding and slipping and.
Correct.
That's
And again, there is a tire cleaner required, that 50-foot is purposely to clean the tires as they leave the field area. And then the stabilized access, like your driveway, you have a stone driveway, you'd end up dragging material out. So the idea is you have a paved surface, and that's why most parking lots and shopping centers are paved, is so that you're not continuously dragging gravel out into a road. So that the purpose of that is to keep the material where it's where it's paved on the site, and rather than dragging that out. So there is a purpose to it. Paving is a maintainable surface where you're not constantly putting more gravel down, because the reason you have to put the gravel down is because it's getting dragged out in the road. And in fact, gravel is probably worse for the environment because it ends up getting into your streams as sediment. So you tend to have those areas where you're dragging that gravel goes somewhere, gets into the storm sewer.
I really don't want to get into an argument about how viable it is to have acres of blacktop in a shopping mall.
Again,
Go down that road. But I understand what you're saying about not having paving the area before the cars leave an area that they've been in the field, and then the gravel, and then the hard top. So thank you very much for your answers. I do hope we'll consider though in the future to try to find alternatives to blacktop, because it certainly doesn't do
It's not
anyone any
blacktop.
favors. And I realize that, the gravel has its own problems, but there are other alternatives out there, I believe. I just don't want to burden this gentleman with other alternatives, because we know the blacktop is probably a reasonable alternative to what he has now. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wants to speak to the applicant?
I'll say though that Stephanie, I think that's the first time anybody ever accused us of too much preservation and not doing so. But I would say that if, Stephanie, I think you've been listening to us long enough that I don't think you're gonna find another board that's not into preservation, not paving over stuff, trust me. But,
I wasn't criticizing
Oh, I know you're not criticizing the board, but I'm just letting you know that, wait, hold on, I listen to you. What I'm saying is, the policies that are here, and Craig's right, we didn't make the policy, but if something didn't make sense, believe me, I'm totally with you and totally open to it. But I think what Craig was trying to say is that even though something on the surface, pardon the pun, I keep doing these puns, even though something on the surface seems like it's not something that's conducive to what we do in Buckingham, there's alternative reasons that make it safe and make it a situation that you have to do. That's all I'm saying. I valued what you said, and we're mostly in agreement when it comes to protecting the environment and the preservation. So I kind of want to let you know it's in good hands, and I hear what you're saying. But there's other things like you heard that we have to consider. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, if there are no other, go ahead. Name and address.
My name is Dana Clymer, it's C-L-Y-M-E-R.
I'm sorry, your first name?
Dana, D-A-N-A. It's 5036.
5036
Holocom, Route 202 Holocom.
Holocong Road?
No, Holocom, PA.
Okay, what road are you living on?
202, sorry.
Okay, so York Road. Did you get that, Donna? Go ahead and tell us what you want to say.
Well, I've been a neighbor of Bountiful Acres for quite a few years, and quite frankly, I'm very pleased that they bought the tract of land behind us due to the fact that now it won't grow any houses. The nursery stock and corn and, what Bountiful Acres does grow is.
Speak up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel is a much better option than having some big building placed behind the property. I've been there for quite a few years. Their event was, in my opinion, very well run. There was music by an entertainer there. I quite frankly didn't think it was an hour. I thought it was a half an hour, but I can't argue that point. Other than that, there is no sound system set up that I've ever heard, and I'm pretty darn close to their property. They adjoin. And I just think it's something that for the community, it gives, families with little kids something to do. And I quite frankly am very happy that they are running what they are running. I'm sure there's going to be obstacles. And I've known Dave a long time, and anytime there's been an obstacle between him and myself, he's always stepped up and done a good job of trying to straighten things out. So I just want to say that, I'm glad that it's happening. I'm glad that, it and some other business didn't take it, didn't get their hands on it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Taking your coat off, that worries us.
Got warm.
I'm freezing.
My name is Ted Theodore Serputowski, that's Sierputowski, and I live on 5113 Anderson Road. And
I'm sorry, your first name was Edward?
Ted.
Ted, I'm sorry.
Mr. Flack has been my neighbor for 40 years, his property. I remember the sale of the property back in '83, like you said. I purchased my property, my farm, in '80. So in 41 years, I've never had a problem with Mr. Flack, ever, never, once. As a a matter of fact, this past year, he used some of my land to grow his pumpkins. And he did a perfect job. I mean, I watched the whole process, and I'm very particular on what goes on my farm. And from the spring right through the fall, he did a really, really great job. And by the time the fall came, it looked like an antique Thanksgiving postcard out there. It just looked really, really good. And I think he did a better job than some of the other tenant farmers I've had do my fields. And I've never had any problems. His land, he is literally my neighbor now. I mean, his land butts with my land facing 413 and also York Road. So on two sides, he's my neighbor. And never had any problems, ever. And although he's used my land, this and that, I'm here on my own volition because I got the letter. And like the past speaker just mentioned, I'd rather see his pumpkins and his corn planted out there than some developer planting some houses out there. So I'm very glad for him. And he does a great job. I mean, I'm in the back 40, and like this lady, I'm not on York Road, but I can tell you in the back there, he does a great job farming, and a lot better than some of the other tenant farmers I've had in the past. And I think we'll do a good job. I really do. That's all.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, thank you for giving your opinion. And it's a question just because a couple of your neighbors came up, so I'm curious what you all think. How long, you mentioned 40 years, I take it, it's been a lot longer than that for you.
1980.
1980, okay. And you mentioned that the typical use of the farm and the nursery, it hasn't bothered you, and that you'd rather see the nursery than homes. And by the way, as a resident of Buckingham, I appreciate that, because it's all of you that help keep Buckingham the way it is, which we like to think it's still kind of a farming community. So what about the last event or so forth? I take it that didn't bother you or anything like that?
No, I'm on Anderson Road now. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know what went on there.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
My name's Mary Bishop. I'm sorry, Mary. Yeah.
Speak into the microphone.
Mary, and what's your last name?
I can see you.
Yep. Just spell your last name and your address,
Yeah, I
please.
heard you. It's B as in boy, E-S-C-H-E-N.
Sorry, B,
B-E-S-C-H-E-N.
okay.
I live at 4998 Anderson Road. My house looks kind of directly diagonally upon this operation. So I just really wanted to it's all very opaque to me exactly what this whole thing is about. You know, I don't really know what the plans are, and I guess I was just asking specifically how anything is going to change to affect Anderson Road in any way. If there was any way it would be affecting Anderson Road, coming and going, you know, cars, all of this kind of stuff.
To answer your question, the ordinance requires two means of getting in and getting out.
Yes.
And as the engineer indicated, one of the means would be onto York Road, but the other would be onto Anderson. Is that right?
and
Yeah,
I
so
think-
it's potentially as an emergency exit that Anderson Road would be used.
Okay. So it wouldn't just be during the events, like, you know, a point of entrance and exit, just a auxiliary exit for emergency purposes?
Yeah.
I mean, I just hope, you know, in good faith that it's all going to be as bucolic as, it's being presented here. I would say sometimes it is nice to know what is going on. It is nice to still have those fields on the road still be clear and farmed, and the only thing that I've ever noticed is at night, in that field behind the place, there are sometimes there can be very loud and very bright light trucks that are working in the field back there, which I can see and hear, in the evening sometimes. I don't know.
I'm sorry, you need to keep your voice up, because I can't hear you, and I
I can't
suspect
either.
Donna's having a problem too.
I was just gonna say, that's the only thing I've ever noticed are the trucks at night with the very bright lights and a little bit of noise to them, but other than that, I just, I hope that we get to know exactly what's gonna happen in those fields and if it's gonna bleed over onto the Anderson Road access, that's all.
Well, I think what we've heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Flack, is that you're planning on using the fields to grow crops.
Correct.
Is there anything gonna be treated on them or sprayed or, is there anything like that we would have to worry about, in the residential area?
No, just typical, crop sprays that you would use, fertilizer, fungicides, things like that on pumpkins. Nothing out of the ordinary.
Yeah, and I think it's important.
It's not an organic, you're not farming organically, so you will be
Correct.
using what the farmers around here use to maintain their fields.
Correct.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much for coming up and giving your opinion.
Okay, anyone else? Nothing, Mr. Lyons? Okay. With that, Mr. Chairman, I would suggest that we close the hearing. The board should retire to deliberate.
Okay. I'm gonna close.
Actually, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
On number 9, the first Saturday in October through October 31st, are the events Saturday and Sunday or just Saturday?
Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. And the time, number 4, what Craig asked, you can't continue past 9 p.m. on Sunday through Thursday, but you're not doing this till 9 p.m.
We
anyway.
typically stop at 4.
4, okay, I thought that because I read the requirements or the conditions from the
Right.
planning commission, but I just wanted to double check.
Sure.
Okay, great, thank you.
Would you like to say anything else, Ms. Black, before I close the hearing?
No, I just appreciate you hearing me out and considering this, that's for sure.
So the board's going to take a few minutes and go back and deliberate on this and then come back out and announce how they're going to rule on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just understand, this is a process that is a legal process that townships have to abide by. Come in and ask for a conditional use, and that's the reason for the hearing.
So I'm gonna close the hearing for Bountiful Acres.
We're going to keep it open to, yeah,
Okay.
to deliberation.
Pause it.
We'll pause it, thank you. Okay? Okay, I'm gonna open back up the meeting for Bountiful Acres. Okay. Maggie?
Okay. I'm gonna make a motion, to approve the conditional use application, based upon the applicants agreeing to all the specific conditions in the zoning ordinance for the A10 use. That's my motion.
What,
Want a second?
right,
Second.
I'm gonna second it. And also based on the fact that the things that you still need to do, the approval is based on, getting in what you still need to get in.
No, he's got it all there.
Yeah.
Just,
So I'm just confirming that for the public. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Thank you for coming in,
Thank you, appreciate it.
and thank you for everybody that spoke and letting us hear what they had to say. Appreciate it. Okay. We're going to start, and I apologize for the late start of the second hearing.
Don't apologize.
Um,
You did it.
Yeah,
Did
we
what you
did.
needed to do.
No, I understand. Couldn't be helped, but, okay,
But we get to meet, Mr. Chairman, the new owners.
exactly, which I'm glad. Thank you for coming, and
Not to prejudice
we'll
my
be,
decision, but I had a gift certificate when I was heading east before I applied.
I do too. I actually do too.
Hurry over.
It's okay. I already talked to Mark. He said it's still good. Okay, we'll introduce in a second. I'm Paul Calderero. Nice to meet you. This is Maggie.
I'm Maggie Rash.
Congratulations
Thank you very much.
New participants to Buckingham.
for Barley Sheaf. And it has a great history.
Okay, let's move.
I'm glad to see that you're keeping it going. Okay,
Number 7.
I'm going to open up a public hearing to consider the approval of an application for intermunicipality and intermunicipal transfer of a liquor license into Buckingham Township pursuant to section 461 B3 of the Liquor Code 47 PS 4-461 B3. The applicant is Barley Sheaf Suite LLC, which is proposing to transfer a restaurant liquor license from Licensed Pub, is that one?
Yes.
Inc., formerly located at 1425-27 West Broad Street in Quakertown, PA, 18951, to property located at 5281 York Road, Hollicong, Buckingham Township, PA, 18928,
Which is Barley Sheep.
which is Barley Sheaf. So I'm going to open the hearing.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, Act 141 of 2000 authorizes the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board to approve, in certain instances, the transfer within the county of restaurant liquor license across municipal boundaries. And that's what the applicant is here requesting to do, as you just noted. And so what we're going to do here is allow Mr. McHugh, as I understand, is representing the applicant, and we're going to allow Mr. McHugh to go ahead and present his client's application or his client's belief that why the license transfer should be approved. And if you're going to have folks testify, maybe we should have them sworn.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ed McHugh, and I represent Barley Sheaf Farm and Glen Allen. Excuse me. Mr. Solicitor, I think we discussed me being permitted to proceed by way of attorney presentation and maybe open it up for questions and answers.
And that's fine, and I assume your client will say that whatever you're going to say is true and correct.
Yeah. So with that, I guess we can, if that's the case, we can swear them in at the end of my presentation. Good evening, everyone, and my name is Ed McHugh. As I said, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we are here for a intermunicipal liquor license transfer. I represent Barley Sheaf, and I represent Ms. Gwen. We also have the managers here for questions relative to the operation itself. As Mr. Solicitor indicated, the Liquor Code requires us to come before you to get a resolution to receive this license into the municipality. What Ms. Allen would like to do is to carry on this tradition of Barley Sheaf from the previous owners and just add this liquor license to the operation. I'm sure you guys are aware of the operation, that it's a restaurant, it's also an event space. It has a great history. She really just wants to carry on that rich history, just adding the element of this, being able to provide alcoholic beverages for the events and also for the restaurant. So I provided an exhibit packet for your consideration tonight, which includes the floor plan of the restaurant, the floor plan of the event space. It also has the dinner menu, it has the brunch menu. We did not include the event menu, that is pretty expansive, but if you wish, they will be available for questions in that regard. And then we also provided you with the biographical information of the manager, the general manager who will be running the space. They are actually the ones who are managing the premises now and will continue to manage the premises after, or if and when this application would be approved.
There's a
I'm
problem.
talking about this Teresa.
Yes,
Yeah.
Teresa.
There's a problem, because she's an avid New York Giants fan.
That was a mistake.
Gotta love our sports, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
That's
the Eagles area.
So if I can just provide you maybe with some information relative to the operation for the record, and then I can open it up for questions. The actual event space itself is 5,000 square feet. The restaurant is about 1,200 square feet, excuse me. The event space has about 200, the capacity for about 200 seats, and the dining area of the restaurant has seats for about 36. The outdoor space has another 36 seats. Obviously, that's a seasonal dining area. The anticipated ratio of sales of alcoholic beverages versus food and non-alcoholic beverages based on total sales would be about 20%, 30% alcoholic sales, and then 70 or 80% food, non-alcoholic beverages. And I think that's kind of based on their current operation as a BYOB event space and restaurant. The restaurant hours are Wednesday through Saturday, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday brunch from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The event space will be available really all week, but my understanding is that these events take place primarily on the weekends, and the event space is available from 8 a.m. until 12:30 p.m.
The event space is the barn that was built about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Correct.
And the events take place in the barn, not outside.
Right. Correct. Yes. The entertainment, there will be no entertainment in the restaurant area. There is obviously entertainment in the event space, and that really is dependent on the party who is actually booking the event and what kind of entertainment they would like. Usually that's in the form of a DJ. Do you have live bands? Or you do have live bands? Okay, so but my understanding is that entertainment, that entertainment's supposed to stop at a certain time. Is that correct?
Outdoors by 10:30, indoors it can be.
I have to swear her in.
Okay, yeah, so I guess we can swear.
Let's swear her in.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else that might testify?
Can you raise your right hand?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. Thank you. Thank you. So, Ms. Allen, as far as the entertainment, what is that? There's a certain time it's supposed to stop.
Yeah, at 12:30 is when we stop indoors, but we don't have any music outdoors after 10:30.
Just for the record, there's actually a court-ordered stipulation in place that specifies what hours the outdoor events can take place.
And
She's
how many?
indicated that to me, yes.
So and how many outdoor
And how
events,
many outdoor?
which I think are 4, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5
Yeah.
total per year.
Yes.
Okay. There'll be no takeout food, there's no takeout alcoholic beverages, no smoking permitted at the premises. This is a family-oriented restaurant, family-oriented event space. There are reservations for the restaurant dining, and I think that's up to 10 to a party. The premises will continue to employ the employees that they have. They have about 45 full-time and part-time employees that will continue to work there. Those employees, if they're fortunate enough to be licensed, will be ramp trained. There's actually ramp mandated training that the manager must take, but the servers will also be trained.
Why don't you tell us what ramp
Yeah.
training is for those of us that don't know?
So RAMP training, so RAMP is an acronym for Responsible Alcohol Management Program. It's offered by the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board. It is provided so the servers at licensed premises and also the manager understand the proper and lawful way to dispense alcohol to the patrons. And that will be in place at the premises. The premises will also have a transactional scanner device, which is also mandated by the liquor code. And that will be in place at the restaurant and also in the event facility to ensure that no minors will be served alcoholic beverages. And that will be in place at all times of operation. There were no licenses, just for a side note, there were no licenses in safekeeping in Buckingham Township at the time this agreement was signed, so therefore that's why we are bringing a license in from another municipality. That is basically a summary of the operation. At this point, at this time, I would like to open it up for questions for Ms. Allen or the managers.
Well, Ms. Allen, everything you just heard your lawyer say, okay? Do you agree with that? Was it true and correct, or is there something he said that isn't quite right?
Sure, when it comes to smoking, we do allow smoking on the premises, but not in the restaurant.
Okay.
Or the event space?
Not inside the event space, outdoors. And we have designated areas for smoking. That's the only.
Anything else you get wrong?
Everything else is
okay
perfect.
with? All right.
I should have said in the premises.
Yeah.
And just to add onto the outdoor events, you're right, it is 5, but only 2 of them can be on the western side of the property.
Okay. Thank you for
We went
clarifying.
down this road to
Yes.
such
Correct.
an extent that
We
I'm,
heard.
and I live in, that's the neighborhood I live in.
Okay.
And
We're
so
doing
I
it to
got
help
a lot
you.
of input
Yes,
and watching out
it
for my
was, we got through it,
constituents.
and everybody was in
Okay.
agreement at the end, so. yeah.
You're aware of what the stipulation of what goes along with it. Okay, that's enough said.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, do you have any questions?
I think what the most important thing is what Maggie said, understanding the conditions of what they bought and what they can do and can't do, and the questions. I guess it's a full liquor license, correct?
It's a restaurant.
It's a restaurant.
Well,
license,
restaurant
which
liquor
is a
license.
full license. You know, you can have, you can serve liquor, wine, beer.
Right.
You can actually provide for takeout, and there's options. It's a full, it had all the full options.
Right, well, part of that,
Only for
when you just said they can provide for that, but
No,
they
I'm staying.
said there was no takeout, correct? Or you're not gonna do takeout, is that correct? Okay.
Thought you couldn't do takeout. That's liquor.
You
No,
can,
not liquor.
you actually can.
Well, I know you can in the airport now.
All right.
I think that's it, thank
Do
you.
you have anything else to offer, Mr. Q?
I just would offer,
Move your exhibits.
move for the exhibits of the documents we
The,
discussed.
We'll allow the exhibits to be part of the record. Is there anyone in the room that wants to speak to this application? Going once? Going twice? Seeing no hands, I guess there's no one that wants to speak to the application, Mr. Chairman, so at this point, Mr. McHugh is finished with his presentation. The board can make a consideration. There is a resolution for
Yep.
a resolution that's been presented to you and is on the agenda.
Maggie, do you need to deliberate?
No,
Okay. Okay, I
I
don't,
have a preference, but that's a personal preference and.
well,
That's the
that's,
preference we both have, which is we don't like to pay restaurant prices for wine, but that's.
What do we,
May I? We do plan to honor the BYOB opportunity with a small corkage fee in order to carry on that unique opportunity here in the area.
wow, that's pretty cool, for the
Okay, I
time
have to
being.
ask, what is a small corkage fee? Since I just went through this with a place in North Carolina.
Well, it's not settled yet, so if you have input, we'd love to hear from
No,
you.
I don't.
$5. That's my input.
except if you're Buckingham residents. How about $30 and any Buckingham residents, you're good to go.
No, don't up
just
me.
joking.
Let me just note for the record, this is all jocular and is
Yes.
not.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Correct. Correct, okay, good, touche. Okay, so you don't need to deliberate. I do not need to deliberate, so therefore, I'm gonna go right into, I'm gonna make a motion to approve. Hold on 1 second, just give me a second. I'm gonna make a motion to approve resolution number 2633, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors, Bucks County, Buckingham Township, Bucks County, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, approving the transfer of a restaurant liquor license number R-19566 into the Township of Buckingham. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hold on,
Wait,
before
yeah.
you vote, I just want to say one thing that I should have said earlier, and that
Okay.
is, Donna, I want to incorporate into the record the public notice that was advertised, the notice that was mailed to the nearby residents, and the posting of the property. I have all that, Lori? Thank you. And those will be consecutively numbered as board exhibits 1 through, I think, 4.
Okay. Anything else, Craig?
No, that's it. I apologize for not doing that.
That's
earlier.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I'll close the hearing for Barley Chief. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Buckingham.
Thank you.
Yes.
We
Correct.
hope to welcome you back to the inn soon
Well-
for dinner or an overnight stay.
I would love to,
We'll definitely be coming.
See you.
My husband got a
I've never been.
gift certificate for his birthday in August.
It's only good for corking.
and I want to say, I got mine for my birthday in 2019, and we had misplaced it, but my wife found it recently, so I'm like,
Perfect timing.
but it's still good. But we've been there after that, of course.
And really,
We look forward to seeing you in there.
Yes, thank you. And I'm Paul.
the most important thing
Are you,
is
who's the manager? Did the manager come?
My wife and I.
Oh, perfect, I'm Paul, and this is Maggie.
the most important, nice to meet you too, but on a professional note, it's really important that you know that stipulation inside and out, and I have confidence that you'll be good neighbors.
Well, I actually talked to Mr. Q about this, is that this was a cause celebre at one point. And you're very, very fortunate that no one is here opposing this. Because at one point, the room would be filled. But as you said, for the past 5 or 6 years, it's been quiet. So.
Because I think they saw Mark and he was gonna keep his word. You know, what
And
was
he followed
happening.
it
And we kept our word.
And the other important element of that is, I know you have to serve out on the patio, that, you know, the sound on the patio, it can stay at a, you know.
Yes, the neighbors at one point complained about the clinking of silverware on the plates
Well,
on the patio.
you know,
so.
and I mean, it's an area I live.
Thank you, Donna, you're done.
Thank you,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you for your patience.
Thank
Merry
you.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Yep, thank you. Okay, thank you, everybody, for waiting. Okay. We are
Okay, you
gonna,
can jump to 15
yep,
now.
we're gonna, so we get to jump to 15, and we'll finish up here in no time. Okay, I make a motion, we approve resolution number 2634, a resolution of the Board of Supervisors of Buckingham Township, Bucks County, Pennsylvania, confirming the acceptance as complete of the public improvements in or serving the land development known as Stony Mead, and all the stipulations thereof listed in the resolution.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, what this is we're reciting the various documents that were recorded that conveyed the stormwater easements, the conservation easements, the roads, and the sewer system to the township.
And we're just naming them all again.
Yes, and
Right.
naming them all and sticking all the numbers in, it's
Yes.
not necessary to,
So we put it in the public document. My motion is obviously based on all that, but, do I have a second?
You have a second. And I'll just add that this is Township File SA 98-05. It's Stony New Development, 1998
is when it was first proposed.
is when it was proposed. And so.
But there was a bankruptcy of the developer,
Yeah.
there was a bridge that was collapsing, and
And we still have one lot to build.
And
Yes,
there's,
and
yeah.
there's still
There's
one
Yeah,
still
and
one
I
lot
think-
that
yeah.
just came in
Yeah.
last month.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
and
it.
my brother was one of the first people to get stung by
Well,
him, but that's okay. It all worked out.
it's really wonderful to get to dedication, so appreciate it. That's my comment.
Yep, for sure. Okay, without any further ado, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Wow, Stony Me.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I think I was still in high school. No, I'm just joking.
Remember
I
the
wish.
I
train
wasn't
table
even
that we
a
had here
I wasn't.
6 years?
Okay,
Remember we had like the little.
number 16.
It was like the table
Make a
back there,
motion.
like the development. You remember that? Yeah, forever.
We agree to the developer's request for an extension of time within which to complete the improvements as set forth in the stormwater facility development contract between Sugar Bottom Farms LLC and Buckingham Township, tax map parcel 6-17-61 to December 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
A second. This is a preserved property.
Yeah, this is Mr. Hagan, who had done some things for the designer house several years ago and is now just getting around to finishing up his stormwater. So hopefully we're going to be done, but we had some weather and some other delays, so they'll hopefully be done early next year.
Good.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 17, make a motion, we agree to the developer's request for an extension of time in which to complete the improvements as set forth in the land development contract between Buckingham Friends School Gymnasium and Science Building and Buckingham Township, Township File LD 2022-01 to December 14th, 2025. Do I have a second?
You have a second. And I'm going to make a comment to anyone who complains and can't get their building plans going. Buckingham Friends, what they have done with a plan that was submitted in 2022. 2 months ago, I went to the celebration of the opening of the new gymnasium. And I mean, they knocked down a gym, built a new incredible gym, a new kitchen, a totally new science, small, wonderful science building on the edge of the forest. I mean, cut and fill the whole ball game. Never a problem. Followed the process. I know I'm pontificating to nobody but who you're streaming. But this is a perfect example of there's a process in place for this. You follow the process in place to the letter. You give the engineer the information they need. You pay your deposits and whatnot, and you get it done. I mean, the scope of this project from 2022 till now is just unbelievable. It's a perfect example.
And I will add that they have been very easy to work with, and hopefully with I guess they're doing some work on the arts building now.
Yes, they're
That's
doing
sort
the
of a bit of a
extension
change,
into the arts building, yeah,
which
yeah.
is going to be next year. So
Yep.
hopefully that'll finish up the project. And
I mean, full disclosure, my kids went to Buckingham Friends. So I have really been watching this all along. But it's unbelievable to me
And as I
in
said,
2 years
they've
when
been very good
I
at
won't say
following
the
and
junk
getting
we get
things
back
done.
and forth from
Mhm.
people.
There with the building department
Mhm.
too.
This
Everything
is
has been
just
really
a shining example. And the other part is, you don't start a project like this or any other large project unless you have the money to start.
And finish.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more importantly.
Probably more-
Yeah.
more-
You know what I mean?
Because the one that we just dedicated didn't have the money to finish, so.
Yeah,
True.
but 1998 till now, and now that's, you can't even compare that. That's
That's
you know, that's a development
the
that
two
had
extremes.
all kinds of issues. Too many cooks in the kitchen for them. Anyhow,
Okay, anything else?
I said my piece.
You're allowed. Thank you. I agree.
All in favor?
All in favor?
I was gonna say.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, number 18, make a motion we agree to developers' request for an extension of time within which to complete the improvements as set forth in the stormwater facility development contract between Edward J. Bussinger and Karen A. Bussinger and Buckingham Township, tax map parcel, that's always a tongue twister, 6-69-21, lot 22 of the Stony Mead subdivision, Township File SA 98-05 to December 23rd of 2025. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Is this the last lot?
This is the second to last lot, theoretically. There's actually another one that's still also under construction. And this should have been done. We just had some site distance issues that we had to resolve, and hopefully that'll be addressed in the next couple of weeks, and we can get this one's closed out as well.
Yeah, you'll see this come back around to close out.
Very soon.
I
Very soon.
anticipate you'll see it at the reorg meeting.
Probably
Yeah,
at the
right,
reorg,
hopefully,
right?
yeah.
You have some things
Can
going back.
I say something? This is my lot.
Oh,
So.
Oh, sorry, can you just give your name and address,
You just
please?
gave it. You just gave it.
Yeah.
This is my
Oh, did
lot.
it?
yes.
Well, I know
Right.
that, but speaking, okay, go
ahead.
ahead.
You gave it. So anyway, this is my lot, and quite frankly, I know that, I think that it's been signed off by the county, and I know my contractor said we have to sign this, but I don't know why. It's all completed, all the stormwater has been completed, and I don't know why we need to extend it. I really don't know why. And I know they're holding my escrow, which I also don't know why. I know my attorney was talking to Mr. Smith today. And again, that was for a tree matter that was along Indian Spring, which has nothing to do with my escrow. And so I'm just kind of looking for some clarity.
And where we were, as I said, when we were about to close out your permit, the revised as-bills came in, I think, less than a month ago, and then the site distance issue came up. We've been working to try to resolve that since.
I understand that, but that has nothing to do with this.
Well, it does, because the trees
Well,
were
hang on a
actually
second.
planted, the
With all
trees,
due respect,
excuse me, can I answer your question?
sure.
The trees you planted in the township's right-of-way posed a problem. So now the township has agreed to allow you to keep them there. And your lawyer, Mr. Harris, and I are working on an agreement that has to be recorded that allows those trees to stay there as long as you assume responsibility for maintaining them. And I think that's really where we are, isn't it? Dan?
That's literally the last item. You know, and again, we do all of those checks when we close out a project, make sure site distance, and that's one of the primary ones that, you know, will hold up a closing out of a
Let's
project.
just say that building was done and planted and finished, and then I decided to plant trees. And by the way, just for clarity, just so we back up, the person who planted those trees was Arch Riley. And I said to her, are you sure that you have approval from Carol? Because that's the only person I cared about, Carol, because she has ultimate authority as far as trees go. I said, that's the only person I care about. She said, absolutely, all I have to worry about is the overhead wires. I said, are you sure? She said, absolutely. I said, okay, no problem, then plan away. And then when they called me from the HOA, and they said, can you move the trees back? I said, absolutely not. I'm not gonna move the trees, you know, because I got approval from Carol. And so then they showed me the emails that said, you're planted in the right way, and I said, I didn't realize that there was emails back and forth, and I'm wrong.
And again, I don't think that this is a,
But let me
Okay, I'm
just
sorry.
finish. My point is, you know, that okay, they have to be moved, but here's the thing. I could have planted them next month after I got my approval. I didn't know, I could have waited and planted them. It would have still been in the right away, and I would have had to move them then, but I could have waited and got all my money back, you know?
But you didn't. I mean, you know,
But my point is, it has nothing to do with my property.
No,
it does, it does.
But it was having to do with accommodating the additional buffering that you wanted on the property,
we have to make
right?
sure that this
It's an
gets
easement.
recorded as
Yeah.
an
Yeah.
easement. So
an
that
easement.
the responsibility for maintaining, which is required under the vehicle
I don't have
code.
any problem with maintaining them, I have no problem with moving them, I have no problem with anything. I'll do whatever anybody wants. I don't wanna cause a problem in my new township. I wanna make everybody happy. But I think that it's unreasonable to continue to hold my money that you've held for, you know, almost 2 years now. You know, I think that's unreasonable, in my opinion. It's just my opinion. You guys might have a difference of opinion, you know? And that's what I was trying to get signed tonight. You know, I wanted you to sign off on it tonight. And again, we sat in that office 2 years ago, and, you know, I just feel that it's unreasonable to hold my money for as long as it. And again, I've done everything that I've been asked to do, everything. You know, and I've had a nice working relationship with everybody in the township. And again, when I said to Arch Wild, I said, are you sure that, she said, yeah, as long as we're not gonna interfere with the overhead wires, no problem. And Mr. Smith, I 100% agree, but I have to maintain that they don't grow out in the right of way. I 100% agree with that, you know?
No, but you understand the township is giving you extra consideration, letting you keep those trees on property that's not yours.
I 100% agree with you, I 100% agree. I just don't agree that you should continue to hold my money for.
Can you wait until January 6th?
That's why I was trying to get it signed off on tonight, so I could end this, so I could end it, you know?
Well, I think it'll end January 6th is my guess.
I mean, because it's an easement and it's I'm gonna say law, but
It's illegal.
No,
yeah,
listen,
wait a minute, because it's in an easement, that's why there's a back and forth with
I
Steve
understand.
Harris. And all the paperwork, the i's have to be dotted and the t's crossed for you to get your money back.
I understand, I get it, but I was just hoping that, you know, it would be signed off on tonight, and when I saw your agenda, I realized it wasn't, and that's why I stayed, and I wanted
I'm sorry.
my voice to be heard.
Well, Mr. Bessinger, I will say that,
And I'm sorry that your brother got stung with in that nice community that I'm a part of.
yeah, it is a good community. But I will say that I do believe, not just Maggie and me, and John, who's not here, but I think everybody up here wants you to get your escrow. I think that's why Craig and Dan and Dana are trying to jump on it. But part of our job is not just trying to help you as a new resident, but it's also protecting the rest of the township. And part of that process is releasing things when legal documents, right? A recording of a legal document is complete. We can't jump over something. As much as I want you to have it, this is a big legal matter. It's not like if you just had to remove the tree, we could make the stipulation. We're going to release the escrow as soon as we're going to give Dana the authority to give you the money as soon as the tree's moved. It's not that simple, though.
It's the process.
It's correct, and we can't.
That's the process, I get it.
Yeah.
I understand.
I mean, it's a pain
I
sometimes.
understand what you're saying. I was just a little, you know.
Taken aback.
Discontented that I
Yeah.
didn't see it on here tonight. And I get it. And Mr. Harris, you know, he says he has a nice working relationship with your solicitor, and I appreciate that. But if I have to wait till January 6th, I'll wait till January 6th. But I just would have liked it done tonight.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what. Well, first of all, I appreciate you letting us know how you feel, and also that we're gonna make sure that now that we know, it's something that you'd like sooner than later, we're gonna do our best. We're gonna say January 6th. If it can happen sooner, we're gonna make it happen. But, we're gonna do our best, okay?
It has to be at the public meeting.
Oh,
And that's why,
okay.
and we're trying to get that wrapped up as soon as you can, and as you pointed out, I mean, we just got the last draft back from the attorney a couple hours ago, so I can't even change the agenda that late.
I got it this morning, and I made changes to it and sent it back to Steve at about 5 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah.
So as you all know, that's probably as fast as I've ever worked.
It is.
Well,
But-
it's
but
because you have to jump. it's
But you
because
also know
you
that
gotta
we can't change agendas on the day of the meeting.
Not allowed
Yeah,
to.
well, that's true too.
That's the new rule.
Like the new Pennsylvania law, you can't even do that. So even having all of that, if everyone could agree to it and sign off on it and do it, I can't even do that. So that's why we knew
I guess
January, the first
Sixth.
meeting in January.
Yeah, and I guess that's what Craig was trying to say. He kind of, because of what it was, and to see if they can do it fast enough, he kind of did it very quick and jumped. So I promise you, it's not like we're not trying to help you and get it done.
I got it.
Yeah.
I appreciate, I just wanted my voice to be heard.
No, I
I'm
appreciate
sorry you
that.
had to wait.
Yeah.
That's okay. I said, my wife texted me, you're gonna be home soon? I said, they haven't even got to us yet. They were just talking about why are they
I wish I knew. We would have flipped you sometime.
Yeah.
Let you get out of here a little earlier.
Yeah, and you could have went, yeah, I'm sorry, we would have put you in sooner if we would have known.
That's all right. I just wanted to blend into the
You blended.
Well, at least you got to see a meeting,
Well,
right?
you've experienced a public meeting.
A
now,
hearing.
too, in Buckingham.
I've experienced plenty of public meetings.
Okay.
Two hearings.
In Buckingham too. That's
No,
good.
not in Buckingham.
That's what I was saying. In Buckingham.
Other places.
Yeah.
All right,
Great.
so it was a pleasure to meet you all, and I met some of you before.
Okay.
How,
Yep.
It's very nice meeting you, and
how long have you been in your house?
We moved in January.
Okay.
Good.
Moved in January, so still working through it.
You're-
It's very nice.
It'll never end. I've been here 42
Well,
years. I'm
hopefully,
still working on it.
it'll be ended with us.
Yeah.
Yes,
Next
in
week will be-
January.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
be
a
doing
couple
it.
weeks, sorry.
But then that.
All right, well, she's moving the trees tomorrow, I think.
I thought
She's moving
that-
the trees.
Great.
They're moving some of them that are up close to the intersection. The
Oh,
others we're
okay.
allowing to stay in the right
Okay.
of way.
Mhm.
I appreciate
Okay,
it.
thank you. Say
Yeah.
hello to
Thank you.
Karen.
Enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you.
Take
Thanks.
care. Happy New Year.
Okay. Wait a minute, did we, wait a
That
minute,
was
did we vote on
18.
that? Yeah, but, okay.
No.
So do I have a,
Did we-
I got a
You got a
second?
second? We got
Okay.
chit-chatting.
Anybody else? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
What a nice man.
he was. And I'm glad, thank you guys for helping him out and making that work out and so quickly. Escrow releases, number 19, make a motion we approve the release of the 60-month escrow held for the Mill Creek Well Protection Agreement in the amount of $31,500. Do I have a second?
You got it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Manager and business items, make a motion. We award the Fieldstone Water Interconnection Contract, General BT 24-02, bid to GS Developers of Doylestown, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $1,746,170. Do I have a second?
You got it.
And this is water and sewer, correct?
Yes,
Funds,
this is water.
Water, not tax funds, water and sewer funds. And
Water funds. Well, actually, we have a grant for it. We have an ARPA grant, which
How
should
much?
cover most of the amount. I don't have the exact change
Roughly.
in front of me,
Yep.
but yes, for that. So we are submitting that now that we needed to award it first, and
Right.
then we can submit that.
okay,
So
perfect.
if you approve it tonight, we will then submit it for
Great.
that. And this is interconnecting the Fieldstone and the Cold Spring water system.
Great. So if you're a water sewer customer and or water customer,
Yep.
and you should be happy to know that most of this is going to be paid for by a grant. Fantastic. And thank you for heading that. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion, we approve until further, sorry, my mouse was covering. Let me start again. I make a motion, we approve until further motion of this board, the settlement of all tax assessment appeals as negotiated and approved by the Central Bucks School District and authorizing the township solicitor to execute assessment appeal stipulations as approved by the Central Bucks School District. Such stipulations presently pending are the appeals of Janice T. Carney for tax map parcel 06-041-058 and Edwin and Ann M. Showin Slade for tax map parcel 06-014-012-03. Do I have a second?
You have a second? I have a question.
I can explain.
Good.
Um,
Are they challenging their assessment?
They're challenging their assessment, and the township, since your percentage of the, as Dana frequently points out, 3 cents or whatever it is, of the proceeds, it's not worth the township participating in that litigation for the small amount of money that really is at issue. So the township has a practice of allowing the school district and the county, who have much bigger stake in the game, to deal with these and negotiate these. And so when they finally come to an agreement, which the school district and county has done with these folks, they still need the township to sign off on it. And so I don't have authority unilaterally, and so by doing this, you're granting me the authority, provided the school district is okay with it, the township will be okay with it, and that gives me authority to sign the stipulations.
You got it. Got my authority.
So am I correct in saying this will be, until we make other actions on this board, not just these 2 cases, but going forward, correct?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
the idea.
so you don't have
So
to
we don't have
do
to
it
keep
each
coming back,
month.
and you guys have to keep
Kind of thing.
Okay,
doing these.
okay. Perfect. Anything else?
Well, and the Board of Assessment said county thing.
Yes.
It is a county thing.
It's not us telling people
Correct.
how much their property's worth.
Correct. We don't normally make that a practice in Buckingham. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, I make a motion, we approve the 60-month contract between the Buckingham Township Police Department and Axion Enterprises, Inc. in the amount of $259,743.60. Do I have a second?
Second.
Dana?
Is this?
Now, this is the portion, it's in 2 separate contracts, but we talked about them all together at budget time.
Yep.
And this is to outfit everything in the police department. So this first one you're voting on is for the body cameras and the tasers.
Right. And just to interrupt you, this is that we're budgeting for body cameras for the first time.
Correct. Tasers, we've already had them. We're actually in the replacement of the tasers. So we will be replacing all the tasers, and we will be doing body cameras for the first time. And I can report that we have been told that we are being awarded a $100,000 grant towards the body cameras. But I don't have the grant agreement yet, but that's
Nice.
what Representative Brennan's office has called to let us know.
Fantastic.
That we should be getting that grant.
That's fantastic.
And that will come off of this
What is
contract.
this, how many year contract?
5-year contract.
So this is a 5-year contract. This isn't a yearly thing, just to let you know, when you look at the price and so forth. And the other thing I will say, not just for this one, but the next one, it's not just the grant. Some of this is replacing existing costs. So when you see this price, it's not all new. It's existing costs. Like, for example, we have cameras in the cars. This will be replacing that expense. So, it's a big nut we're doing now, but it's all encompassing. And it even though we got accredited, we're ranked the safest township in the state for our size, this enhances the security of, the residents, and quite frankly, me and my family and kids. And it just puts us even at another level. So this is great. Maggie, did you have anything to say?
No.
Okay. Okay, for the first one, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and finally, going to make a motion we approve the 60-month contract between Buckingham Township Police Department and Axion Enterprises in the amount of $195,174. Do I have a second?
Second.
And this is for the car cameras and the,
And Cradle Point. Now, what Cradle Point is it's basically a Wi-Fi that's created within the car. Because right now we use cell service
Right.
and we'll have a little MiFi and it connects. But what happens, as you know, people who live in Buckingham near to Buckingham Mountains, is that we've
right.
increased cell service, but there are still some places where it can dip and you get disconnected from the county. So what we found is we experimented. We had bought 2 Cradle Point this year and put them in 2 of our cars and experimented on how a hardwired connection with I don't know exactly technically how it works, but more a hardwired connection, and not kind of using these little MiFi, so it's replacing.
Right.
MiFis are out, and you do that, and it has like an antenna kind of thing.
Satellites?
Yeah, and it's I don't know. I think it is.
Well, I'm sure
But
next.
it has
Probably
a
Elon Musk.
Well, Starlink.
Satellite.
it has
Yeah.
and it has a better connection. And what we found was, and we also started, we had the car cameras, which
Yep.
we have now, and we looked at that we could roll into our Cradle Point project and replacing that in all of the cars. Now that we found that does work better, that we could also upgrade and replace our car cameras in that system, which was
Right.
getting a little older, and with having the having car cameras and body cameras, you kind of have to increase the system, that like the storage of the data and everything
Yep.
like that. So that kind of all goes together. But
Correct.
this specific is the car cameras and the Cradle Point.
It's
Yep.
really a good system.
It really is.
It's for safety, and we
Yeah.
have to do it now.
Really
It's
is top of line. We looked at different systems, different carriers,
Yep.
and this was like top rated and soup to nuts, which is kind of nice.
Well, because you don't want a million different.
Yeah, it's nice not to have that.
And I will say, not to bid farewell to the little cell hotspots, but I will say they had their time and they served us well. We were one of the first townships to actually have hotspots like that years ago, because we used to have our police officers kind of do the reports and sit at the schools to kind of, if you're going to work, why work? If you can work, they would sit in the parking lots. So they were kind of serving dual purpose.
Yeah, we
So,
still encourage that.
we
to go
encourage
out into
that
the
and-
community. Well,
Yep. So
Township
they can
doing
do
it.
some work and be there for the schools. So they served us well, the little hotspots.
Mhm.
But technology changes.
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else?
No, you know what? I just want to make one little comment, and that is, what a good ending to a year. We hired a great new chief.
Yep.
And some of these innovations are, and they're not innovations, but they're new to us, are because of our wonderful hire.
Yep.
Really
Yep.
happy.
I would agree.
And
Chief
yep.
Serrato.
Well,
So,
he certainly, Chief Squatter certainly helped us get us there, because some of the stuff we've been talking about and looking into, and he helped complete a lot of the research and told us what's out there. Okay, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dana, any other manager items?
No, that's it.
Okay, I'll just close before I make my last motion. I hope everybody has a great holiday and Christmas, and I hope you and your family stay safe. We finished another year in Buckingham. This is the last meeting before our 325th birthday, because on January 1st, it will be officially our 325th
We look pretty good for our
birthday year.
age.
Yeah. Well, as of last month, I can order from the back of the Perkins menu, so I'm excited about that when I go to Perkins next. But gotta tell you. So anyway, I'll make a motion that we conclude and end our last meeting for 2024, the Buckingham Township regular business meeting. Do I have a second?
You have a second. Happy holiday, everyone. Happy New Year, because we will not see you until the 6th.
Correct.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We do it.